Welcome to another episode of the MMA Lockcast. This week, I'm going to be going over my 2019 year-end review. With that said, Happy New Year. I wanted to do this just pretty much for my own sanity. You know, I had a really tough year, especially after UFC 238. That's where it seemed to start to take a downturn, and it's been, crashing down ever since. I had a little, hope redeemed in myself with a couple events, but in the end, it was still a tough second half to the year. Um, yeah, I did a year-end review last year with my man Newsome, where we actually introduced the tape index, and we weren't able to get our schedules to line up this time around. So I decided to do it myself, regardless. You know, this is something that I want to do, and you know, ending the year the way that I did. Uh, I felt it was pertinent. You know, I thought that it was very important that I go out there and not hide from the fact that I had such a abysmal year. When it comes to the close, you got to be able to learn from it, move forward, and try to figure out the best strategy to move forward. Uh, you know, Tough year. Overall, minus 41.82 units. That fucking hurts. You know, it definitely hurts the bank account. Um, but I know that it's something that I can redeem. You know, I know I'm good at this. Still have a 62-ish% lock of the night record, which is not the best. You know, I'm still working on that. I've always wanted to have at least a 70 to 72% hit rate when it came to my lock of the night plays. Um, yeah, it hurts. Let's just put it that way. So let's go through. Let's go through some of these categories first, and then I'll get down to my actual thoughts in terms of how I did for the year as a whole. But I have a bunch of different categories. It's the same categories that we went over in the last year-end review. So let's get to it. First off, best bet of the year. So I had a couple runner-ups here. I had Patrick Mix over Ricky Bandejas. I thought that was a great bet because I love spotting some of these guys before they're able to get that, get the real mainstream rub. Not even the mainstream rub, but like the main gamblers rub. A lot of people were kind of not too familiar with Patrick Mix before he came into that fight with Ricky Bandejas, who also had a lot of steam behind him. You know, beating James Gallagher, I believe, in the fight before, and then Patrick Mix comes out here underdog odds. I thought they were great odds, and I was more than happy to take a shot on him there. That was a candidate for one of my best bets. Another candidate for my best bet of the year was Ian Cutelaba inside the distance over Khalil Roundtree. A lot of people were riding Khalil Roundtree's coattails there, saying this guy is the real deal. You know, he showed great improvements in his fight against Eric Anders, but it takes more than one fight for me to be like, all right, this guy's the shit. This guy's legit. He's definitely revolutionized his game, and we're gonna get a better version of him every time out. I wasn't buying into that. You know, I thought there was a lot of value on Cutelaba, especially inside the distance at that plus money, and I had to take the shot, and I thought that was one of my best bets of the year. But I think my best bet of the year by far has got to be Valentina Shevchenko inside the distance over Jessica Ai, 1.25 units at minus 102. Kind of surprised that the line was this close. And I was kind of surprised at the narrative that a lot of people were thinking that Shevchenko was just going to cruise to a decision victory here. If you guys study the game of Jessica Ai, you know, she is a little bit durable and she has some good wins under her record. However, you know, she's very hittable, and there aren't many girls out there in that division that hit like a Valentina Shevchenko. The only person out there that I could think of is, you know, Amanda Nunes, and she's a 135er. So if we're talking about the 125 division in particular, Shevchenko is probably the heaviest hitter and the most technical, and she's going to be able to find those the perfect counters to be able to put out a girl like Jessica Ai. So what did we get? Probably one of the best knockouts of the year. Absolutely deaded Jessica Ai, and I was more than happy to cash that ticket. But yeah, I was very surprised, and I feel like that was the best bet of the year for me, just due to the narrative that was out there on Shevchenko cruising to a decision victory. Let's go from best to worst. So my worst bet of the year, in my opinion, was just actually the last event that I bet on. Rampage Jackson over Fedor Emelianenko. I took 1 unit at plus 120 for Rampage. Should have put a little bit more work in here, even though I got the plus money on Rampage. And considering how Fedor has looked and how easily he's been able to get put out by some of these guys, I thought Rampage, no matter what shape he came in, was going to be able to land on Fedor. But I will you can color me surprised once you saw Rampage on the scale. Well, you didn't even get to see him on the scales properly because the guy fucking kept his shirt on. But once he got in the cage and you saw how much fat this guy was having, and the fact that he had to cut down to get to 265 was ridiculous. Yeah, I gotta say that's one of the worst bets of the year for me. I was all over it plus money. I'm like, Rampage just has to land one. And all it took for Fedor was to land one as well. Against a Rampage that didn't seem like he was completely there. You're 265 going into a fight that you have always talked about as being one of your dream fights, and it looked like you'd even trade a day in your life for it. So I'd say that's one of the worst bets of the year for me, if not the worst bet of the year for me. All right, let's move on to luckiest bet of the year. I believe, even though it was a lock of the night play with Claudio Silva over Danny Roberts, there's a lot of luck that came into this. I thought it was going to be an easy win for Silva, get this fight to the ground, get the submission within the first round and a half. However, it went a little bit longer than that. Both guys showed a lot of gas tank issues, and we kind of got lucky with Claudio Silva getting that phantom tap from Danny Roberts. Say what you want, I don't think he completely tapped there, and it was a very close fight. If that had actually gone to a decision. So I felt very lucky that the ref saw some sort of tap from Danny Roberts, and Claudio Silva got the victory there. And especially the amount of submissions that he was throwing up so lazily, and Roberts was just able to get out of them. I was pretty much on the edge of my seat that entire time. And I was more than happy when I saw fucking Claudio Silva actually get the victory there. So I'd say that's the luckiest bet for me. And then on the flip side, unluckiest bet of the year, I got two. I'll give you my runner-up first. John Jones inside the distance over Thiago Santos. Afterwards, we find out that Thiago Santos tore his knee within, I think it was the first round or second round, and John Jones just takes his sweet time and picks apart Thiago Santos, and even went to a split decision. A lot of people gave that fight to Thiago Santos, but with John Jones, this seemed like an easy victory. Implement your fucking wrestling. You're going to get this guy to the ground and then work your top game from there and find the finish. He had no agenda or no game plan to even try to take this fight to the ground. And I thought that was very unlucky on my part. And then lastly, my actual unluckiest bet of the year, I'll have to give to Donald Cerrone. I took him via sub over Alexander Hernandez, 0.5 U at plus 550. Thought there was a lot of value there. Cerrone is kind of synonymous with dropping guys and then seeking the submissions. Didn't seem like that here. It seemed like Alexander Hernandez rubbed him the wrong way in the lead up to this fight, and he just wanted to pound his fucking face in, and that kind of hurt me. I thought he got the position that he wanted, didn't seek the choke just as he normally does, but instead he went for a TKO, KO, and got the victory there. Same thing kind of happened to me the prior year with Tyron Woodley. I had taken him to win by KO over Darren Till. He ends up going out there and getting a fucking submission of some sort. I like it sucks that happened, but I thought the value was definitely worth it at plus 550 especially. Okay, most profit on a single bet. It was one of my lock of the night plays. I had a parlay of Movzar Evloev and Lord Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I believe he beat Ant Gulov that night. I had 5U at minus 109. That was like a 4.59U profit there. That was one of my biggest bets. And then most, I guess, that on the flip side, most loss on a single bet. It's 5 units on a couple of occasions, strictly due to the fact that most of my lock of the night plays are 5 units. Most profit made on a single event. It was easily UFC 235. I had plus 10.62 units on that for a 73% return on investment. I went 5-0 that night. It was 4-0 that night. Crazy night of fights. Quickly running down it, I had Kamaru Usman over Tyron Woodley, 1.5 units at plus 169. Zabit Magomed Sharipov over Jeremy Stevens as my lock of the night play for minus 188 at 5 units. Another lock of the night play. This was a double lock of the night play tonight. Cody Garbrandt against Pedro Munoz. Fight doesn't go to decision. 5 units at minus 195. And then a couple. And then my another play here was Johnny Walker inside the distance over Misha Serkinov. 3 units at minus 105. Killed that event. I saw a lot of traffic after that event too. Unfortunately, I just wasn't able to sustain it throughout the year, but definitely one of the highest viewed videos I had for my Lockcast, and the most positive reception I've gotten pretty much all year off of that event. Great event. I pretty much called everything to a T. I think I went 12 for 12 that night. And then unfortunately I fucked up, and I don't know why, but I veered away on one of my Hail Mary parlays and I took Robbie Lawler instead of Ben Askren, and it kind of paid for me. I don't know why I took Robbie Lawler there, but you know, it is what it is. And then biggest loss made on a single event. So this is on the flip side, minus 13.75 units at UFC 239. That one fucking hurt. That one was really rough. I had Luke Rockhold as my lock of the night play over Jan Blachowicz. 5 units at minus 175. That hit. That does not hit. I had another 5 units. This was one of my unlucky bets, actually, or a nomination for my unlucky bet was Jones inside the distance over Thiago Santos. That was minus 5 units. Dog of the night play on Alejandro Perez over Song Yadong. 1.5 U at minus two at plus 206. I had a parlay of Ishmael Nardiev, who lost to Chancellor and Country that night, and Julia Avila parlay 1.5 units at minus 125. And then lastly, I had a small stab, 0.75 units on Claudia Gadella to win inside the distance over Randa Marcos at plus 335. Everything fucking whiffed that night, and it just definitely was not my night. Funny that both of those were John Jones cards, too. If I'm not mistaken, UFC 235 was headlined by Jones and Anthony Smith. All right, sharpest bet of the year. I got to go with Kamaru Usman over Tyron Woodley. I had 1.5 units at plus 169. Very surprised at the fact that Usman wasn't closer to an even bet here, or even odds. I wish I went a little bit deeper, but I didn't want to get too overzealous and stray too far away from like risk management. But thought there was plenty of value on Usman here, and I was surprised that people thought that, you know, Woodley was going to be able to keep up with his pace. Woodley was going to be able to out wrestle him. No, like Usman absolutely shut him down. And say what you want about Woodley not showing up that night, Usman fucking showed up and shut down Woodley. I don't care what anybody says. If that fight happens again, it's going to happen 10 out of 10 times. And I would take Usman every time, probably as much as a lock of the night play every single fucking time. The guy is going to be a problem at 170, just as he said himself. And it's going to be a long time until we see anybody take that strap from him. And I thought Colby Covington had the best chance. Didn't work out too well for him. It was a close fight, so I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between them. But I think Usman's going to be reigning heavy for that welterweight division for a long time. Stupidest bet of the year. Easily for me, got to be my lock of the night play on Israel Adesanya inside the distance over Silva. Anderson Silva, 5 units at minus 132. That one was rough. I was so sure that Adesanya was going to show out. You know, there was that whole debacle with Robert Whittaker having to pull out the morning of the fight against Kelvin Gastelum. You know, and then Adesanya gets bumped up to the main event. It was still 3 rounds, but he gets bumped up to the main event in his neck of the woods against a legend in Anderson Silva. And I thought this was the fight for him to really burst out into the mainstream, you know, put a show on against Anderson Silva. And most people enjoyed that fight. Not really too much me, you know, it was fun to watch, but it was whatever. I didn't think it was like the best fight out there. But yeah, I was expecting a little bit more of a killer instinct out of Adesanya, and he's the type of guy that doesn't push it too much. But I believe I pushed the narrative on myself that he would want to go out there and put on a show, get the finish, and really burst onto the scene, especially with a victory over a guy like Anderson Silva. Didn't turn out that way. You know, it was a lot more tactical on his part. He didn't really want to, you know, pull in Anderson Silva and like, you know, fuck this up and have the fight snatched away from him. But yeah, that one sucked. That one was really tough to swallow. But I know what the issue there was, and I pushed myself into believing that there was some sort of narrative there that there truly wasn't. Biggest lean of 2019 that I passed on that ended up winning, got to be Diego Sanchez over Mickey Gall. It was hovering around the plus 280 range when I was considering it. It got bet down to plus 210. I think I set myself up for like plus 300. If it hit plus 300, I'd take the chance on Diego Sanchez. But I try to hit it regardless. You know, Mickey Gall is still very green, and Diego Sanchez, as over the hill as this guy is, I still think he presented issues for Mickey Gall and could have got the victory there. And there you go. He got the freaking victory. So that one was really rough when he actually won, and I was kicking myself for passing on it. And then biggest lean of 2019 that I passed on that lost got to be JJ Aldrich against Macy Barber. I was still questioning Macy Barber's skill level at that point, and Aldrich had a great first round, and then somehow Macy Barber comes back in that second round and gets the finish there. Made Aldrich look for a way out. She overwhelmed her with strikes, and Aldrich eventually couldn't continue in that second round. Plus 240s for JJ Aldrich. I thought there was a lot of value. I thought that Macy Barber was just getting too much hype at the time. But she's showing that it's warranted. And here we go, another event that she's coming up in, where she's a huge favorite. She's a minus 1,000 favor over a bigger vet than JJ Aldrich in Roxanne Modafferi. So is this another option for a possible, bet? Who knows? I think plus 550 or whatever Roxanne's at is crazy. But I'll get into that more a little bit in the next episode when we actually break down the card. But yeah, that was the biggest lean of 2019 that I had. JJ Aldrich over Macy Barber. I passed on it and it ended up losing, so I dodged a bullet there. Most valuable lesson that I learned in 2019. I feel like I need to take more of a grounded stance on a side before I see other people's opinions. And let me give some background regarding that. I feel like subconsciously, I'm getting influenced to look certain ways, and I know as a capper, that's the last thing you should do. You should stay firm with what you believe in and stick with it. Ride with it. Obviously, have a little bit of an open mind to be swayed, but once you pick a side, stay with that side as much as you can, and defend it as much as you can until you truly yourself see a viable crack, or a chink in the armor of this bet that you're thinking of making. You know, I don't go out there seeking opinions to seek validation for the bet that I've made. But just scrolling through timelines and just seeing other articles and stuff, I feel like subconsciously it's done something to me. So I'm trying to stay off Twitter a little bit just to make up my mind on these matchups before I even see what other people are saying. And again, I don't go seeking out these opinions. As you're scrolling through Twitter, you're just going to come up across them. You know what I mean? I'm more than confident in myself, and I know that once I stick with these things, the perfect example. Got two examples actually. I got the last two events before UFC 245. There was one where I had Aspen Ladd was going to be my lock of the night play. I ended up passing on her, made a different lock of the night play that ended up whiffing. I believe it was the Overeem and Rosenstruik under that I whiffed on there. And then James Krause had him as a big bet over Sergio Moraes. Oh, Alfred, hey, quit it. Hey. Shh. All right. Alfred making some noise, trying to be a little guard dog, you know what I mean? Either way. Yeah. And James Krause over Sergio Moraes was going to be another lock of the night bet for me. I was so deep in on it, and then I ended up taking the Antonio Hoyo and Andre Muniz under there as well, under 2.5, and that one hurt as well. I have nobody but to blame but myself for making that last minute adjustment when I was so sold on these guys. So I need to continue the confidence in myself, and I need to make up my mind and stick with it, unless I feel like there is an actual claim to think otherwise. So I feel like that's the most valuable lesson, and then smartest piece of advice. I don't think I'm currently in the sitting to give the best advice, but just study your strategy, study where you were successful, and try to get into that mind state of what made you successful. Yeah, that's really all I can say. It's pretty cliche, pretty straightforward, but you gotta stick what makes you good, what makes you kind of stand out, but also makes you profitable. So I'm trying to go back to that for coming into 2020. I tried even the last couple events of 2019. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay super strict. I'm only going to make my lock of the night play, my dog of the night play. I feel like I can veer from that a little bit. Just overlooking my first half of 2019, there were some other value plays I were looking at, and then some other value plays that I passed on, and I paid for it. And I think that in 2020, I'm going to look to capitalize on some of those value plays, but still be a little bit more holding on to my risk, not risk as much, I should say. So I feel like that's what I got to do. Ending the year as deep as I did, that was tough. But I want to be transparent about it. I don't want to hide from this. I don't want to try to sweep it under the rug, try to, fuck around with my third party tracking or anything like that. It is what it is, and it's going to be a big loss to overcome, but I believe and know I will overcome it. I just got to stick to my ways. I got to stick to what I know best, stick to my confidence, and fucking move forward. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it for my year end recap. I don't know how long that was, but I hope you guys find it insightful. I appreciate everybody that's been along for the ride. Those diehards that have been sticking with the channel and even sticking with me through the tough second half of 2019 that I had. You guys are the bomb. This is the reason why I do it. You guys are the reason why I do it. And I could potentially be going back to doing full reviews or full breakdowns, full card breakdowns for my Lockcast shows. The Patreon thing was a little bit of a test, but it's tough to dedicate that much material, especially working a 9 to 5. So we'll see. I'm still going to be doing the Lockcast Plus for the Patreon for at least January, but come February we'll see what's up. But for the channel, there's a lot of big things going on. You guys have already seen, and there's more stuff that you guys are going to see. I'm excited. I've added a lot to the studio. I'm adding a lot of different types of content as well. But just the main focus is handicapping MMA and rebounding from such an abysmal year, and giving you guys the best content that I possibly can, as well as some winners. Some proper lock of the night plays. And last thing, the one more thing that I've kind of been considering is maybe not doing a lock of the night play every single night or every single event. If I'm not 5 units confident in it, maybe not make the play. But I've also introduced, a couple months ago, the 3.5 unit lock of the night play. I'm confident in it, but not 5 units confident in it. So I'll try to play around with that and see where I am. In terms of UFC 246, that's going to come out next week. I just wanted to drop this for you guys just to exercise my demons, get it all out there. I'm not trying to hide shit. I had a shitty year, but we're still in the fucking game. We're still going to rock it. And lastly, I lied. I swear this is the last thing, I promise you. Lock of the Night Challenge 2020. The deadline for that is Saturday, January 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's pretty much you pick one Lock of the Night play every UFC event. If you accumulate the most amount of profit at the end of June, you win the pot. Currently we're at a $900 pot for the $100 game. And then 14 people in the $25 game currently. Last season, we had 23 people in the $25 game, and we had 8 people in the $100 game. So we already got more in the $100 game. I'm expecting us to have more in the $25 game. If you guys are interested at all, I'm going to have a link below. It's going to be the Lock of the Night challenge page on my Lock of the Night site. It's going to have all the rules and all that. And then you guys can either comment below and ask me how to sign up, or even just DM me on Twitter if you guys have me there at MMALOTN. And I'll be happy to sign you guys up, give you guys more info on whatever it is. I'm just trying to give another platform. A lot of people think it's easy to pick a Lock of the Night play every night. It's not that easy, to be honest. But here's your chance to showcase that you can do it. And also possibly win some money while you're at it. So I appreciate you guys checking out the episode. As always, make sure you guys follow me at MMALOTN on Twitter. Check out the website, MMALOTN.ca. And I'll be back with you guys next week for another episode of the Lockcast. And I'm going to be back in Big Rob's studio because we got another guest coming on for you guys. So see you guys next time. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, do all that shit. Let me know what you guys think about my honest review of my year. And again, appreciate you guys watching as always. So.